in a lot of basketball groups I'm in is the discussion between Michael Jordan and LeBron and who's the GOAT.
This
So
discussion.
there's a good discussion there. Um, of course, uh, John Chaney passed away today. Uh,
Yeah.
and then just this stuff that's going on with some of the games. The Lakers losing on this little losing streak. What's that about? Uh, so I think that'll probably run us an hour right there.
We want to save some time for the Grizzlies.
That's what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. As far as how we want to discuss the roster, Coach, do we just want to say, these are the ones that are in and what each of them, their skill set is and, what we see in them versus saying, hey, this is the roster and talk about it from that standpoint?
Yeah, talk about it from position versus names.
Okay.
Names may change.
Very much. Names and characters may change based on situation.
Coach told me there's only 12 spots.
That's it. That's it.
Coach made that loud and clear on Wednesday. I was like, only 12.
That's
Five's
it.
going to play and seven's going to sit. So I was like, okay. He made that.
Let's start, Coach, with the let's start with the five, I think, because I think we're more set at the five, at the true five, versus playing the five position. I guess when we talk about fours, we'll say they can play five too. But as far as the five, as far as beef wise, I think we're one, maybe two deep.
Hold on, Coach. We're gonna knock the current events out.
Okay.
And then go to the team so we can finish up with the team.
Okay.
Yeah, so that way it like you said, and I'll have my timer so we can spend about maybe 10 minutes on the MJ LeBron thing.
Right.
10 minutes on the games, what's going on, possible trades with Bradley Beal, mention John Chaney, and then we jump right into Grizzlies.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
So let's go. So
Coach with the timer.
Yeah, look, we got you. We get carried away. We get carried away.
He's
gonna be late running over.
He's serious. He's serious now. Okay.
Yeah, I guess we go there. So last week Coach Brown, head coach Fredericksburg Grizzlies, got my assistant coach with me, Coach G, and then our media guy, Shady, with us. And we turned him that nickname just based on what he's doing for us. But yeah, we've been laughing before we got on, but there's a couple of things we want to discuss that are hot topics in the basketball world. And one big one that definitely want to touch on is this conversation between Michael Air Jordan and LeBron, the King James, and quote unquote, who's the GOAT? It's a hot, emotional topic when it's discussed on Facebook, and it always gets interesting.
Right.
And I'm just one. I don't feel like you can call one basketball player the GOAT. There's too many parameters and things to consider to really come up and quote unquote to say who's the GOAT. Do we say it's Kareem because he's the leading scorer in the NBA? Or do we base it on, Bill Russell with 10 plus championships? So there's different things to really, touch on that subject. But in my eyes, Michael changed the game. He paved the way for a lot of these young players today. And I think it just should be a respect of understanding what he did for the game on and off the court, because we know what he did on the court and his accolades. So I think from that standpoint that, with the LeBron fans, they feel like his stats and he's been to the championship with every team he's been with, pushes him up to be and receive that title. And I just don't think stats really define you as the greatest basketball player of all time.
I agree with that one. I got to tell you, Coach, I'm a Kobe guy. So when people ask me, is LeBron the next Michael Jordan, I say he's not even the next Kobe Bryant. And I look at that because I think if Jordan played in this area, his numbers would be through the roof. I think if LeBron played in Jordan's era, his numbers wouldn't be what they are now. So now you got to throw the eras thing in it. And, and Jordan never lost in the NBA Finals. So, I mean, how can you not be good if you never lost at the most on the biggest stage? I'd rather go 3-0 than 3 out of 50.
I agree. And
so I'm talking about performing on the big stage.
I'll be the devil's advocate and bring what the LeBron fans speak when that 6-0 record in the championship comes up. Well, LeBron never lost in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm thinking, are y'all killing me? Are y'all really joking right now? We talk about the first round of the playoffs.
First round.
Right.
Who really talks about the first round of the playoffs? We're reminiscent and talking about basketball.
Yeah.
So it gets a little heated, and then it goes into, winning a championship is a team achievement, which is true. But every team has a leader.
Right.
And we know who drove that car in Chicago and put them in that position that they were. And as I tell them, I said, they're quick to say that MJ fans are haters of LeBron. I have no hate of LeBron at all. Love him to death. He's going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time. But here's where that true basketball discussion comes up. And for as great as he is, he has noticeable flaws in his game that we can't ignore. And to me, on the biggest stage, and it's not a comparison to say, well, this is what Kobe did and this is what Michael did. No, when you're that man and you're looked at as a leader on your team, you accept that competitive challenge on the court. So I don't want to see Steph Curry set a weak string on him. Steph Curry is what, $150 wet, if that?
Maybe.
LeBron about 250. He should not be able to string LeBron and somebody else ends up on Kevin Durant. LeBron, fight through that string and stay on Kevin Durant in this situation. You should be on the best player. So it's things like that I see that has to be addressed, that, when you talk about it, beat that challenge, be that alpha male, that leader that you are on both ends of the court.
Yeah. Jordan's always been a defensive stopper.
Yep.
LeBron, he could play good D when he does his thing where he trails and he comes get you from behind and blocks it. But Jordan was right up in your number. That's the kind of defender Jordan was. He was right up there in the number. And the number he was in was always the best player on the other team.
Always.
He didn't want no switching. Don't. If you switch, I'm coming back to find you.
Yeah.
He always took the challenge. And to play up against Clyde Drexler and all them guys and still score 40, 50 points against him, I mean, you playing both ends at a high pace. I ain't never seen LeBron do that. I like LeBron too. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm glad he with it. So the kid can flat out play. But when you compare him to the greatest, you can't be the greatest and you haven't played and you haven't shut down the greatest. Jordan has shut down Hall of Famers. LeBron, I haven't seen him do that yet. I've seen him block some shots, but I've never seen him just shut down somebody. And that's why I got to go with Jordan and his Jordan offensive skills, his study for the game. Nobody does that or have done that but Kobe.
Yep.
Nobody has ever done that but Kobe. Kobe studied the game. That's why Kobe was the greatest. So I think Kobe's right behind Jordan myself. And LeBron's right there, but you can't have three greats.
No, you can't.
So greatness recognize greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, see, here's the thing, though. Like, I grew up in the 90s, like on the tail end, like watching Michael Jordan, and he was always a competitor. Like my man loved to compete. And my man, like every single time he lost, he never made excuses. He was like, hey, you know what? That's on me. I got to get better. I'm going to go in the weight room. I'm going to figure it out. And every year he got better. Like before he won his 3 consecutive championships twice, he was MVP, Rookie of the Year, All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year. And that, like he had all those achievements before he won his first chip. So, and he always grew up in the NBA saying like, hey, you want to be one of the best, you got to win championships. That was the standard. So, and he even says himself, I'm not the greatest. Like he has a respect factor from his peers before him. He don't go around be boasting and saying I'm the greatest. Other folks, we say, oh, he's the greatest because of boom, 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 boom. And I mean, and like Coach Brown was talking about, like we got to talk about some of those mental flaws like LeBron had. One, there was times that he didn't have that competitive edge or whatever that it factor you want to call it. If you want to ignore the Spurs in 2007, that's totally fine. But we cannot ignore what happened in Dallas. Like we cannot ignore that. Like where he just completely just had like a bad moment and just shut down. Like that's inexcusable, right? Like everyone's leaning on you, say, "Hey, you are supposed to take us to the promised land." Like there's a reason why so many folks have such high reverence for Jordan, high reverence for Kobe, because they wanted that pressure. They said, like, dude, give me the ball. Dude, let me guard this person. I want this responsibility. If we lose, put the blame on me.
Sure. Exactly.
Like, if we lose, media, come after me. Don't come after my players. Don't come after my coach. Come after me. LeBron, I don't always feel like he wants that burden. He wants the glory, but he doesn't want the burden of losing, of failure. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why, like we stated, the respect towards Jordan and then the respect towards Kobe, who was the closest person to Jordan. It's like, it's to me, there's no discussion. There's Jordan, then there's Kobe, and then, whatever. You can say whatever you want afterwards.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Shady. Totally. And another one that I always go back to is championship game. The year that Golden State swept them in the first game, they were up on Golden State, and JR didn't take the shot. Everybody that wanted to say that cost them the game, that didn't cost them the game, because at the end of the day, if he didn't shoot it, there was still time on the clock. Why not call a timeout? Nobody called a timeout. So when the clock ran out, he was very demonstrative toward his teammate, which to me is you never show your teammate up on the court. Right, wrong, and different. And again, so when they say the hate on LeBron, it's not hating. Let's talk about the obvious. You don't do that to your teammate, especially when you still have an overtime to play and you have a chance to win the game. So for my leader, quote unquote, the GOAT, to go sit on the bench the entire time out before the overtime with his arms crossed, basically pouting, to me speaks to that competitive nature inside. So then you come out in the overtime, and if I'm not mistaken, LeBron didn't take a shot that entire overtime, and they ended up losing that game. So to me, did you give up mentally on your team in that aspect? And I don't care if you had scored 50 at that point. Guess what? I need you to score 58 because we need this win. So it's moments like that as a coach and a fan of the game, that when you talk about a player's greatness, it's not just his physical attributes, it's his mental that completes that title of placing that on someone. And I just see there are too many incidents with him that have happened that, you know what, LeBron, you shouldn't be walking around calling yourself the GOAT. You know, ball players don't do that. We leave that up to the media and fans to do that, to have that discussion. Just go do what you do, lead your team. But I just think back to that incident in particular, that I've never seen Jordan or Kobe do anything like that with the game still in balance and a chance to win it. And to me, those are defining moments in your career. So for someone to say, well, he's been to 10, okay. But in that 10, you're 4-6. You go to 6 and you're 6-0.
Right.
So, so that discussion, but that's just something I want to talk about, because that's a hot take. That's a hot take in all of the basketball groups I'm in, and I tell you, it gets heated. It gets very heated.
Well, when you talk about knowing the game and seeing the game, you're talking mentality, and the highest mentality or the greatest mentality you can have for the game now is supposed to be called the Mamba mentality. That's supposed to be the highest mentality you can have for the game. But where you think Kobe got that mentality from?
Jordan.
It's the Jordan mentality that Kobe had. You know, and they just named it the Kobe mentality. But Kobe studied everything he know from Jordan. And Kobe said in one of his interviews, if I want to be great, just do what that guy do.
Right.
And he did what Jordan did. That's why he's great. So when you talk mentality and you're talking Mamba mentality, that's supposed to be the highest IQ in basketball. If you got that from somebody else, imagine how high their IQ must be.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So that's where I close on it.
Good discussion, fellas. Good discussion.
Yeah.
Like to say rest in peace to one of my coaching idols. And I've had a couple of people say, now it makes sense. I see it now. Rest in peace to Coach John Chaney. Great coach, greater man, and just brought a lot to the game and did great things for Temple University. So rest in peace, Coach.
Yeah, my nephew went to Temple to play football. And I went to a football game. Yeah, I came home from I think I was on leave from the Army. And I came home and seen him at the football game. And he said, are you playing here? Are you coming here? I said, nah, I'm here to watch my nephew play. He said, okay. Okay. I was just wondering if you was coming here because you're a big kid. I'm like, I would love to come here, but no, I'm not coming here. I'm in the military. I'm just here checking my little nephew. Hell of a coach, man. Hell of a coach. Hell of a African American coach. Done so much for the game and for the kids coming out of Temple University. Yeah, he'll be missed.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah. Another hot take that has been mentioned this week is the Lakers losing a couple of games back to back. Coach, I'm sorry, I know you're a Lakers fan, so this is not a jab, but it's funny when you talk about it with the roster that they have and the expectation that has been set on them repeating. And it's regular season games. They weren't supposed to go undefeated. Anybody that thought that, you're not being realistic. But when you truly look at it and you break it down and you look at the losses and the pattern, because that's what it is a pattern that they are establishing, and it's not a positive pattern, is as a basketball player, if you're playing the game the right way, from the time the jump ball is tossed till the whistle sounds, that switch goes on. You don't turn that switch off at certain times during the game, and then in the fourth quarter, you turn it on and think you're going to finish it. That becomes a mental deficiency that you become dependent upon it, and then it catches up with you. And I think that's what's really happening because, Detroit, not a great team. My Sixers beat them the other night, which were a lot better with Doc Rivers. And then I told, the Lakers fans that I know, I've told them, I said, y'all are beating yourselves because it's almost like it's an arrogance that you think you can just turn it on and win when you're ready to play. And that's not how you establish a winning attitude or culture, in my opinion. I just feel like you got to compete from beginning to end. And if it means load management and you're tired at night, sit down. But there's no reason that you should be losing to the Pistons, in my opinion.
That falls back on leadership.
It does.
You know, when you're the leader of the team, Jordan doesn't let you lose 2 games in a row like that. We're relying too much. You know, and I watched some of the Sixers game. I missed the Detroit game, but the Lakers are going into to each game lately playing to win. They're not playing to beat people. They're playing to win. Let's keep it close, and hopefully our talent gets us one more point than the other team. And when one bad shot, you lose the game, just like we lost by 1 the other night. But you got to go out there with that mentality. I don't care if they're 15-0 or they're 0-15. You go out there and smack them, and on to the next. And we don't have that mentality. We're so busy, and we're relying on LeBron to pull us out or AD to pull us out. You know, we got so many weapons that can pull us out. But if we just go out there and smack people early, we won't have to rely on somebody to pull us out. And that's the mentality that LeBron has to step up and say, look, no, we're not playing at that energy level tonight. I don't care if we play in Detroit. I don't care if we play in Philly. We're going to go out there and play them just like if we was playing the Clippers or we was playing somebody else that's in first place. And that's what happened to you. You get comfortable, and what's happened is happened. Got comfortable.
To make a quick segment in like a relationship, I know like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they do the exact same thing. Like they play big for the opponents like they want to play against, and then they drop their energy tremendously against teams they should have no business losing to. So it's essentially the same thing that's happening because the Pistons are not a good team. Blake Griffin is still kind of like injured, not injured. Derrick Rose haven't really played that much either. It's a mentality thing. Like one team is hungry to want to make a statement. The other team's like, whatever. And that's just not a good attitude to have if you're trying to compete for championships. Because Kobe, he would never allow that to happen. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Like Kobe, like, no, we ain't doing this. Like your energy off, sit on the bench. Try again next time.
They're going to get everybody's best shot every night.
Every night.
Every night they're gonna get everybody's best shot.
And see, Coach, that comes back to our situation with our team is something that we were talking about last week. Your mentality. If your mentality is not of that, I'm going to choke the life out of you, then you leave room for that opponent to get life and come back and beat you. So when you're winning by 20, you should want to win by 30. When you're up by 30, you should have want to win by 40. You don't, okay, I'm going to kick it in cruise control and just let the time run out, because that's not how you play the game. So it's funny. I just look at it and I think it comes back to a generational thing, even with the load management. The 82 games that they play now is no different than the 82 games that they played in that Jordan era. So to the thought of missing a game and you're not injured, I don't get that. So to me, that rolls over into the game where you don't have that mentality to compete the entire season. Your contract is for 82 games, not for 72. It's for 82. So as that competitor, you want to play every game. That's how I see it. And
that's true.
And I think it's, as I like to call it, the trophy generation or participation trophies, is that is deemed acceptable in sports now. And to me, it just sends a bad message that, I want to sit this game. But then you play the Pistons and you can't lock in mentally to beat a team that shouldn't even be on the court with you. So interesting to see how it plays out as the season moves on.
You got to beat people, not win. I think this year, I don't want to get too far into your next thing, Coach, but I think this year we're going to win some games just off talent. But there's going to be some games where we're going to have to beat people. And until we learn how to beat people, we're going to struggle when it comes time to beat people. So you got to go out there with that mentality where we have to beat this team. We've never lost to nobody that we beat. So winning will come as a side effect of that. But we got to go out there and just beat them
Mm-hmm.
in every aspect of a game: offense, defense, sideline, out of bounds, inbounds, everything. We have to win 95% of the plays for us to win. And if we do that, we won't even have no close games. But
That's
we just go out there and beat people because we're capable of crushing people. But we go out there and play to win. Just they're 0-7. We're gonna win this game. We're gonna walk out of there with an L.
Yeah. One of my favorite coaches from University of Arkansas, I forgot what his name was, but he implemented like this very intense style of play, and he called it like 40 minutes of hack.
Nolan Richardson.
Nolan Richardson.
Yeah, and I watched those games like on the VHS, and I was like, holy smokes! Like the moment you step on the court to the moment you get off the court, if you was not a Razorback, it was extremely uncomfortable the entire time period. Like they let you know real quick, you don't belong here. We don't care about you, and we're going to keep on kicking you until you tap out. And it was ridiculous. And if I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he won a championship too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So beat the living, what, out of your opponents and take their will away.
That's
Make
it.
make it very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I and me and Coach talked about this, and we talk about it all the time. Is to me, it's just about competing. And one thing that our coach instilled in us, when you hit the court, be better than the person you're guarding at everything. Sprinting the court, getting the loose balls, beating him to the spot, assist, better shooter, more points. So that comes from playing the game on the playground. As a young kid, we played this game called 21 or elimination. And basically, it could be anywhere from 5 to 15 people on the court playing. And basically, you got to score 21 points on your own. And that game teaches you how to compete, how to be a dog, and mentally how to really play every facet of the game. And I think Coach can agree and speak to it that a lot of that is missing in today's game. Is I don't want to see your best when the game is easy. I want to see your best when the game is challenging. Let me see you respond under pressure and somebody's just as good skill-wise as you are. What's going to separate you? What's going to give you the edge when both of you are equal skill-wise? What gives you that edge? And it comes back to your work ethic and your mentality. So that's what we're really trying to instill in our second year with this group that we have. And like Coach said, from every spot, from the 5 down to the 1, we are very comfortable and interchangeable. There's something else with this team that I really like. From every player pretty much can play 2 or 3 positions. No one is locked in at a certain position. And with a lot of people feeling that the game is positionless today, that's going to be a huge edge for us. Me and Coach talk about all the time about the different matchups that we can create. If you want to play a half-court game, we can excel at that. If you want to play a transition game, we can excel at that. But as you mentioned, Shady, we're trying to create 48 minutes of hell, of uncomfortable pressure situations for that other team. And I feel we're deep enough, we're talented enough that we can execute that. And it's a rewarding style of basketball at the end of the day. You feel like you've left nothing on the table, and it's exciting for the fans to watch. You know, you just mentioned Nolan Richards, and you went back, and that was early '90s,
Yeah.
and like you said, from time to time, I go back. Another team that played that style was UNLV and Jerry Tarkanian. Uh,
Yeah.
that group, Larry King, Stacey Augman, and it was just, we're going to challenge you to see if you can meet us at the same level or if you're going to wilt. And we know Tark won a national championship with that team. So I still believe there's a place in basketball to compete from baseline to baseline, not from half court to the baseline, but baseline to baseline. And that's what we're going to create this year with this team.
It's a
That's the only addition we need. If we got talent to work with, we need to tap into that work ethic, that dog in them. You know, we got to be 12 Rockwallers just sitting on the porch waiting for you to cross in front of our yard. And once that referee throw that ball up, it's time to eat. If we can incorporate that mentality, the talent's going to do what talent does. But it's those dogs that keep you from doing what you want to do. And we can get those dogs to biting that meat when they come on the court, we're going to be unstoppable. That's the part. Everybody doesn't bring effort to the basketball court. A lot of people bring talent, but not everybody bring effort. So if we can instill that effort, and one thing that will bring effort out you though is competition within your own team.
Ooh, talk about it, Coach. Talk about it.
Okay. All right. If you the big dog and another big dog walk in the yard, one of y'all gonna have to prove who the big dog.
Sir.
There's no such thing as two big dogs. Either I got you by an inch or a centimeter, but we ain't the same size. So either my heart bigger than yours or my bite bigger than yours. Or we gonna find out who the biggest dog. And sometimes to find out who the biggest dog, the two big dogs got to fight.
That's it. And the big dog is not decided by how you bark. Bark ain't to do with it because we know your bark could just be your bark. So when I match that bark, what's next? And and I think just, you know, again, and we talked about Jordan and LeBron. That competitiveness has to be in you as an individual. Now, as a group, when we bring it together, me and Coach job is to make it one and pull that out for the success of the team. And Shady, I think you got a good eye view of that in Wednesday's practice.
Oh yeah,
we're very capable of making that happen if they're not bringing it themselves. So with it being a new team and we've added so many pieces, we're going to create that moving forward until they realize that that's who they are. That's our identity where, okay, you know what? I don't need Coach to push me to this. I got it. I know what he's expecting. So now with that, when, like you said, that drive within is there and this is the culture that we're doing. Now, me and Coach are looking at other factors of the game because we don't have to worry about that. And that's that part of, again, when you know what your responsibility is, we shouldn't have to remind you and push you to do that.
Right. I mean, because here's the thing, though. Like, when I think of a Grizzly, I think of a very big, ferocious, intimidating creature that, like, when you see eye to eye to this Grizzly, you should learn very quickly, I'm going to fight or I'm going to run. Like, there is no debate about, well, you know, let me talk to it or, you know, let me be all nice and cuddly. Like, the Grizzly is out there to get you. Like, it is not a calm animal. It is not a penguin. You know, it's not, you know, a cute little, you know, teddy bear. Like, it is a ferocious mammoth. And it literally, its job in life is to crush anything that gets in its way. So, in reference to what I saw on Wednesday night, I saw some people who had a little bit of a kind of calm demeanor. I saw some folks like, listen, man, if coach telling me I don't play with effort, I'm not getting no playing time. I can't go back to my wife and kids saying I got no playing time. So they turn on the juice real quick, and I was like, oh, like, oh, that's how you feel. Okay, then it's going to get real spicy real quick. But I love it though because as a fan, as a video guy, just watching it from a bird's eye view, but as a fan, like when folks are like really going after each other, competing wise, oh, it's so beautiful to watch. It
Yeah.
is so beautiful to watch. Just separate those who want to play, those who just, talking a good game, just say like, hey, babe, I did good tonight. Okay, why you only got 5 minutes of playing time? The camera
Right,
guy
right.
the camera guy said you only got 5 minutes of playing time. I thought you was doing well. Okay, camera guy don't lie. The film don't lie. The stats don't lie. So, but yeah, I saw a piece of that last Wednesday, and I saw a piece of that this Wednesday, and like I said, when I saw that intensity level go up, I was like, oh, now we're playing some real Grizzly ball now. Okay, I'm in now.
It,
A lot of those guys never been pushed like that. A lot of them played college ball and and ball other places. But I can look at a lot of the players on our team and tell a lot about the coaching they've received. Because a lot of our players have never had the kind of coaching that they're getting from Coach Brown and myself. We're all about pushing you. I'm not going to coach you to what you do. I'm gonna coach you to what you're capable of doing. That's the type of coaches we are. Yeah, I see what you could do, but there's so much more in there. And with you listening and me talking, you're gonna find out that we're gonna bring that out. There's another a layer there, and as we peel it back and get past the emotions and the fear of that next level, you're gonna be a better basketball player. And if you're a better basketball player, you're gonna be a better contributor to the team. So it's going to help the team in whole. But a lot of them, I holler sometimes, and some of them look at me like 17-year-olds, like why is Dad hollering? But I want that kind of player that when I holler at him, got you, coach, watch this, and they go out there and respond. That's them the kind of players I like, and I've learned a long time ago. A coach told me a long time ago. I think it was the coach from what's my man name? Coach West Virginia, Huggins.
it's Bob Huggins.
Bob Huggins. I went to a coaching clinic a long time ago. I heard Bob Huggins say that you want your team to be a reflection of how you are. And with the dogs we are, sometimes I wish we could come off the porch and fight and bite some people too, coach. But we got to stay in the coach's box. But I want people to look at that team and say, bruh, I could tell what kind of coaching y'all got playing like that. When we once we get to that, then we good to go. But we're gonna keep on biting them and keep one thing ain't gonna happen. We ain't letting up. There's no let up in the setup. The only way you're gonna get rid of this is if you in the stands.
That's it.
But if you playing for the Grizzlies, you're gonna get this the whole season. Because if you turn it up one notch today, tomorrow I need another notch. Tomorrow I need another notch. And you just got to keep on. We're going to max out your potential. And we're going to love you while we're
I
doing it.
love you while we're doing it. And it's funny what Coach just said. And like you said, I told you we had a long conversation, but within 3 minutes of our initial conversation, I knew this is who I wanted to coach coming to Fredericksburg. And it's because of some of the things he just said. And I had a coach, my high school coach, said, meeting the expectation is the job of the player. Getting you to exceed the expectation is my job as a coach. So I'm thinking, how do I exceed the expectation when this is the bar that's set for me? Because no matter what you do in life, you have a bar that you're capable of reaching. But the right coach or mentor can get you to exceed that and go further, because that push and that motivation and that encouragement goes a long way to pleasing that coach. And when we're in practice, we're coaches, we'll sit back and look and we'll be like, you know what? They think they're playing hard, but they're not. They're sweating, they're going up and down, but it's a different engagement in the game when that mental, I like to call it domination. I want to beat you at everything that we're doing. I don't want to give you an edge. I don't want to give you any confidence to think that you're gaining any ground on me. And it may not sometimes come across the right way, but at the end of the day, there's only one way to compete, and you play to win. You know, you don't play for the fun of it. I mean, it is fun, but you're playing to win. And if you're playing it the right way, and that's challenging your opponent at every facet, now it's fun, it's rewarding. And at the end of the game, you can sit back and say, man, I can see the look in their eyes. They didn't want to play anymore. And you can read it in their body language. And we had games last year where we saw glimpses of it. So now with this roster that we have, we just feel like, man, coach, which button we want to push this game? Where do we want to really go to work on this team and just break them down? And I tell you, Shady, like you said, you're at the practices, you see, you know what? You want to take our guards away? We're going to go inside to our bigs and dominate. You know what? You want to collapse down and double our bigs? Guess what? We're going to have shooters all around that perimeter that either one of them can with you in their face or wide open. Then we have enough ball handlers where they can put it on the floor and attack. So I feel like right now, and this is being 100% honest, I think the only weakness that we have right now is on that defensive end, where we need to, as soon as we score a basket, we're turning around and we're in their face to create that hell that Nolan Richardson put into play a couple of years ago. And when we grasp that totally, I think the sky's the limit. And it's fun. It's fun going into practice, challenging ourselves to challenge them to get better. So it's going to only turn that notch up more as each practice and scrimmage as we get closer to this first game.
Absolutely.
That's how the mentality starts. You talked about mentality. I've always been a coach that when I've always watched another team warm up, it tells me a lot about that team when they warm up. Are they organized? What are they working on? Are they working on screen and rolls? Because they run a lot of screen and rolls against me. Do they got a whole bunch of shooters? Is the bigs doing any work? Are the guards doing any work? I read all of that from a coach's standpoint just through the warm-ups. But as a player, when you walked in the gym and you're playing around in warm-ups, oh, I'm great. Get you. I'm great. Eat you up. I'm watching who you are. You look like you might be guarding me because you're about my size. I'm sizing you up as soon as you come out the locker room. Are you serious about your craft? If you just out here BSing, I'm great. Eat you alive. And it says a lot about a team. That's why I'm constantly on our team, doing the warm-ups. Get used to me hollering at you. So when I holler at you in the game, it's not a shocker. But get used to me hollering at you. We're not warming up right. Hey, quit playing around down there. Let's warm up. Somebody's always watching. Hey, we got to win this. Every play is a serious play. Every possession is a serious possession. If we're up 20, that possession could put us up 22 or 23. It's a very important possession. You're not going to take any possessions off playing for the Grizzlies, because when you walk in that gym, the mind game starts then. Is that team late? Is that team got players coming in and just got off the bus 30 minutes into the game? Mm-hmm. That tells a lot about the opponent that I'm getting ready to face. Does that coach have control over his best player? Is his point guard listening to his instructions from the bench? I see all that from a coach's perspective. And if I find a weakness, we're going to expose it. That's why I try to close all our weaknesses while we're in the practice phase. So when we get to a game, get comfortable, with being uncomfortable. Don't mistake activity for productivity. I ain't gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Man, Shady, what he just said, and it takes me back to a game last year. Coach, you remember we were warming up and we were we were egging our team on to, come on, fellas, take it a little bit more serious. And then they got into it. We looked down at the other team and, okay, they got good size. Okay, good couple of shooters. I said, Coach, you know this ain't none of them sweating. You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
How do you go to a warm up and you're not sweating by the time the tip is ready to go up? And we talked about that right before we went out for the jump ball. And I said, fellas, they are not ready to play ball. Not one of them have any sweat on them. Go out there and throw the first blow. And when they stumble, you keep throwing blows until they fall. And I think 3 minutes into the game, that coach called a timeout. He used 3 timeouts in a matter of 5 minutes of that game.
Right.
It's that part. And that's why I say it's only 2 of us with 4 eyes, but we don't miss much, if anything, because we know what the game looks like from beginning to end and how it should be, orchestrated in a sense. So it's the little things that, as I said, you can be a good team, a great or a championship team. So all of those things, that attention to detail, we're putting it on them and fill it in that data bank so that individually they're taking that with them when they're working out on their own or playing in leagues or playing in whatever. It's like, you should stand out. If you're the only one on the court picking your man up full court, people going to notice that versus everybody else that runs back to half court and waits for their man to come. I don't know what that is. That's not basketball to me. That's that's some intramural type of thing, but that's not professional semi-pro basketball. So that's it. That's the big thing that they probably say, man, all coaches talk about is competing, because that's what it's about. So
it's a mentality thing. It's like I remember my brother who played D1 basketball at Grambling State University. He told me straight up when I was growing up, it's like, Shady, basketball is 90% mental. I was thinking 90%. I thought at least a little bit more towards physical. It's like, nah, like do all the physical stuff, do all the things you need to do, but 90% mental. I was like, why? It's like, listen, like if you're not doing well shooting wise, you can't get down on yourself. You still got to compete. If you're not doing well defensively, you still got to compete. So pretty much at an early age, he was telling me in terms of mentality and mindset, it's all about preparation. It's about the energy that you want to bring into the court every single time you step. So he was pretty much telling me, it's like, dude, I don't care if you're doing basketball, you're playing your trumpet, you're playing dodgeball. I don't care what it is. You could be having a quote unquote bad day stat wise, but you can always bring forth effort. You can always bring forth energy. You can always bring forth the mentality of, I'm going to do the very best that I can and dominate in any fashion possible. And yeah, I saw a couple of times, not even a couple of times, a lot of times during practice, soon the basket was made, it was just running back to the other side. I'm like, wait, what? Like, are you at least guarding your man? If you guard your man, that's one thing. But if you just like completely turning your back, just running all the way to do like a 1/4 offense and allowing the other team to get set up, that's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work.
No. Hey, Coach, I had, I got that little black shirt with you would not outwork me on it.
Yep.
I don't know if you ever seen me wear it to the gym, but I had put that on my high school girls team for their warm up jersey that you would outwork me. And one of the girls one day said, "Why didn't we get you would not outplay me?" I said, "You might outplay me, but you ain't gonna outwork me because you outplaying me. That you controls that, but you outworking me, I control that." So I'm gonna be responsible for what I can control. You would not outwork me. And one shirt I had was, "You would not match my energy." Those are things that I control. If I'm in control of it, I feel more comfortable putting those high claims on it. Because there's some better basketball players out there better than me at this age and even when I was younger. But they would not work me because they thought they outplayed me. But you will not outwork me. And nothing I do, you will not outwork me. And you're not going to match my energy. If you try to match my energy, oh, we got something here. Come on up and match it. We got something now. I want you to try to match it. We got something now.
And it's going to be some respect earned at the end of the day.
That's
Uh,
it.
and what you just said, when I coached AAU travel ball, and technically AAU it should be for the most talented kids. Well, we know it's not now. It's kind of watered down. But then we had this statement: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And can I speak to that? Because some of my earlier AAU teams, they weren't the most talented, but they had a work ethic that for some 14-year-olds was out of this world. And that's how we won and stayed in games. And now that is translating into the skill because they want to work on it. Okay, coach, what can I do to get better in my man-to-man defense? Okay. It's not all about speed, it's understanding your position on the court, your footwork and angles and how to use your hands. So that work ethic thing goes a long way when your skill is not quote unquote the best, but your work ethic will definitely cover up for that. And it all comes back to what we talk about, competing. You got to work to compete. So it's fun. I told coach, I said, you know what? I know the attention to detail that you put into getting our playbook together. I know the time and attention and the patience you have implementing it and teaching it to them. So here we are at this phase of the season, and we're trying to put in some situations and go over them in practice to make sure we're prepared. And we got a person that's missing part of the play. That's a problem for me. So I think coach kind of saw me do a turn. I said, you know what? Let's go play. So if you can't do it in a shell drill, how are you going to do it in live action under pressure? Pressure bursts pipes. And really, that's the culture that we're looking to establish, is that once we give it to you, it should be stored and registered where you don't have to think about it. You got to be able to play free. And if you don't know the playbook, you can't play free. So that's one of those things, again, that just comes back to us as coaches of challenging them, pushing them to exceed the expectation, and comes back to what you talked about also, Shady, the mentality. You should, as a competitor, as an athlete, you should want to have all the bases covered. You don't want to be weak in any area when you're going on the field of battle. And if you are weak in an area, you better embrace it and work on it to get better, because it will be exposed in competition. No.
If you don't know, ask questions.
Don't know, gotta ask.
I'm okay with you not knowing. I'm not okay with you getting on the floor and not executing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know, ask questions. Now is the time to ask questions. Because once that horn go off, coach expecting you to know everything, everything he called, he expect you to know the whole playbook, defensively and offensively.
Yeah, yeah, without question. Because, like I said, that stuff that comes up on the film, and even as a commentator who is not as well versed with all the plays and whatnot, because I'm focusing on other things as well, it's very difficult for me to do a good job commentating when I see players who don't know what's going on. So that makes my job even harder. And it is my job to talk about the players in a positive light. That's like my responsibility. So you're actually doing yourself a disservice to the fans when your own commentator is like, look like that guy looks a little lost out there. Like that's not you never want to hear the whole commentator say that. You want your away commentator to say that. That's what you want. You never want your home guy to say, "Oh God, what was that?" Like terrible decision by blah blah blah. Like you don't want that for me. You want nothing but good things. So to help me to help you learn your job, and it's get much more easier for me to bring that good energy. Like, oh yeah, that was a good pass by Tim Turner, to Nick Hall. Like it gets real easy for me to do my job. So we all have our roles to play. We all are in this together. And until folks start seeing like we all on the same page, they're not gonna be like they don't see it yet. I see it just from a distance. I'm like, guys, like if you play well, my commentator will show that. The coaches will see that. The film doesn't lie. The home commentator is going to be on your side. But if you don't play well, the commentator can't be lying to his audience saying like, oh, well, the Grizzlies was a little off today. The fans don't like that.
No.
They want authentic commentating. So I have to tell them, okay, the team's a little off today, but they will get it back together in the second half. That's what I need to tell them a good story. And then it's up to the players to fulfill that job. It all works together. It all works together.
So on that, and this is a conversation that I've been a part of too, and I need y'all input. Tell me, what is the term? And let's say a solid team, they had a bad game. As a coach and as a former player, I've never liked that term or description when a team loses a game that they shouldn't lose. So my question is, what is that when you say they had a bad game? Because I really don't believe it's possible for your roster 1 through 12 to play badly. And it shows. So is that a question of leadership, focus, commitment, or you're not engaged?
From a fan perspective, when I see like a good team having a quote unquote bad game, to me, that really speaks more on focus. You wasn't fully engaged in the game. The fans have an understanding of what you're capable of doing. The fans have an understanding of knowing your expectations. And they know what good basketball looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So just because the fans may not be as well versed or as quote unquote skill wise as the players, they can tell, wait a minute now, this team is way better than this. Like, what's going on here? Like, they start asking questions while they're watching the television or the live stream, whatever the case may be. Like, fans are not stupid. Fans are very intelligent people. They know really good players, really good teams, and teams that are not playing with effort. Like, they can tell very quickly, oh, they're being a little lazy today. I wonder what's that all about. Did something happen? Like, it's all about that mental mentality. So, yeah, to answer your question, Coach, you can say it's leadership, you can say it's commitment, but to me, as a fan, it really is about focus. You're not fully engaged at the job at hand. Your focus is somewhere else. And it shows when you play.
Well, I don't think to me, this is just my philosophy. There's no such thing as a bad game. Game only describes the contest. Tennis, you got sprinting, you got meets. But basketball, you got a game. Now, within that game, you got the offensive aspect of it. You got the defensive aspect of it. I could say we played bad defensively. I could say we played bad offensively, which may have caused us to win or lose. Defensively, which have caused us to win or lose. But then I can break that down. What did we do bad defensively? so we can fix that? Or what did we do bad offensively? We didn't execute. This play didn't work. We ran this didn't work. We got beaten our transition game. You know, I can, as a coach, I can analyze those things and fix those things. But a game just describes the contest to me. It's called a basketball game. It's not called a basketball meet or a basketball match. So a bad game, there's no such thing as a bad game to me. We played bad offensively because we lost. Now I can go back and tell you why I think we played bad offensively. We were 8 for 50 from 3-point land. We shot 30% from free throws. 18 we missed 18 layups. See, I could break that down and say we had a bad offensive. We played bad offensive that day. On defense, we got beat back. We allowed 37 points in transition, 65 points in the paint. See, I could break that stuff down as a coach and tell why we lost. But to say we had a bad game, there's no such thing as a bad game. To me, that's just my philosophy. How
and that's why I say that just when I hear that, I'm like, no, it's not that. And like you said, there's ways to go in and look at that. And, you know, especially in today's game with analytics being so heavy, is that you can break it down to detail, down to that one minute area to say that this is what it was. And I like to, you know, again, when we talk about, you know, you come to practice or you come into the game, your energy level. Your energy level is one thing, but another part that is greatly missed, and this is something that I learned early in AAU coaching girls, it's not just your energy level, it's your emotional level. So if your emotional tank is empty, but your fuel energy tank is full, guess what that car is doing? It's struggling. It's not running smooth. So those two tanks have to be in unison to avoid those situations like that. And to me, missed shots are part of the game. Being out rebounded, did you got out hustled? That guy wanted it more. So those are the things as a coach that, like you said, when we're talking and we go back and look at games and we lose a game by 1 point, and it's like, man, we lost the game because we missed that shot. No, we didn't. We lost that game.
Right.
We shot 15 for 32 from the free throw line. We lost that game because we had 15 uncontested turnovers. You know, it's one thing if you're being harassed and you make a turnover, but just making a bad pass is easy to break that down. So those are the things, again, mentally we're trying to instill in them where those things don't creep in and kind of blossom. Let's nip those things in the bud. And the quicker we nip them in the bud, the quicker we're going to progress and start hitting our stride. So that was just funny when we were talking about that. It just popped in my head because a lot of people say, oh, well, the Lakers had a bad game. What? What do you mean a bad game? Against Detroit?
Right. What do you mean a bad game?
That's not a bad game. That's a bad effort.
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's a bad game.
Game
went on, didn't it?
Bad game. What was it? Older in the gym? It was what?
Right. Anytime you lose by 1 point, as a coach, I can go back and find at a minimum 10 to 12 points to where we lost the game at. We didn't lose by 1. We lost by 13. Because see those 8 possessions right there, we went empty. That's what lost the game for us. It wasn't that last possession.
And that's one thing that we say, and even with, you know, us wanting to play that 40 minutes of hell, is that we're not just going in there chucking up shots. In the process of playing that, we're still thinking the game. We're working the shot clock. We want everybody to touch the ball in a half-court possession, and we want the defense to have to work. Let's shift them. Let's reverse that ball. Let's hit it inside out and make them have to collapse in and rotate out and contest the shooter. But, you know, when you come down and you want to do that one-on-one thing, it again it throws that whole rhythm off. So much that we're doing is piecing that game together for them to make them understand how one end affects the other, how one aspect can affect two others if we're not mentally engaged and don't stay conscious. So that's one thing that we talked about last year, and we're going to stress a little bit more this year. We can't have uh, possessions, multiple possessions, where we come down and don't score. When you look at a game and a 48-minute game, and you can track how many shots you take, you can't have in each quarter 4 or 5 possessions where you don't score and our team scores, because you're digging yourself in that hole. So we want to be in this aspect that we're scoring every possession down or every other, but we can't have 4 or 5 down possessions where we don't score or get good looks.
Yeah. Talk about that. Another thing I learned, Coach, talk about that shot clock. The guy said that we're going to be a 25 team or a 75 team. Hopefully we could be both. And when you talk about 25, even if it was a pro coach, so they got 24. He said, with the team we have, we should score in the first 4 seconds of the shot clock. That means we got it and we gone. Transition team. We're horses. We got it and we gone. But can we score in the last 70, the 75th part of it, which was that 18 to 64 or 20 to 24, whatever that is? See, great teams execute. And when you go deep into the shot clock, a lot of times you're executing. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have to get deep into the shot clock. If we can score in the first 4 seconds, that means we got it and we went. But when you get in that decision-making process within that 7 to 13, 14, 15 seconds, that's the decision-making time of the shot clock. I mean, you should be either going into a set offense or you're scrambled. You scramble, somebody's great happened. Now we're running up against the shot clock. But if we can score in that first 5 or 6 seconds, that's great. But if we don't score in that 5 or 6 seconds, now it's time to execute. Can we execute? Can you run your offense? Because offense is not, when you're going up and down, that's not an offense. Mm-hmm. That's talent doing what talent do. But when you get into that 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 seconds in the shot clock, you better be a good execution team. And can we call a set and execute and get a play out of it? Because there's going to be a lot of times to where we're going to have to score off of our offensive sets. And if we can't execute off our offensive sets, we're going to be dead in the water.
It's funny that you bring that up. I think both of y'all will remember it from practice Wednesday night. We were going up and down, and I said, okay, let's play some scenario basketball. I said, it's 100-100. It's 2 minutes left in the game. These two players and, this situation, what are you going to do to win the game? Think the game and finish the game. And as soon as they went back out there, I think if it was doing a game, Coach has a good way of gauging when he needs to pull me back because he knows I'm ready to go. And you remember we went right out there and we shot. I think one team shot a quick 3 without one pass. He missed. The other team got the rebound. They went down, didn't run an offense. They forced a shot. They missed, came back down, and it was the same thing. And we're like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? It's 2 minutes left in the game. It's 100-100. Your shot selection and your decision making must be solid in situations like that. So for that practice in that scenario, if that was a game, Coach, would you feel safe saying we probably would end up losing that game?
Yeah. Because we didn't execute. We didn't even attempt to execute.
Exactly.
We just went out there.
Conventional.
The point guard has to know when we need a 2. The point guard has to know when we need a 3. The point guard has to know when we need to get some fouls and get to the free throw line. That point guard has to dictate all that. The point guard, he got a big job, man. You got to know how many points everybody on the team got in your head. There's no scoreboard that's going to give you an ongoing stat sheet. Say this is what everybody got.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know all that. If I know that this guy is 3 for 4 from 3-point line and we need a 3, I got to know how to run my set to where that guy's going to be the shooter. I don't want to run the wrong side and the wrong shooter ends up shooting out of that play. I got to know if the big guy on the other team got 4 fouls, I got to go down to my big because we need to give him one more and get him out. If their best player is doing a lot of fouling, we got to keep going at him and see if we can get him deep into foul trouble. If this guy right here can't play, it's a mismatch there. I got to keep going. Point guard got a big job. That's why the point guard gets the cute girls
Yeah.
because he got a tough job. He got a tough job.
Yeah.
And I think the point guard we got is up to the challenge, but he don't know what he don't know. That's his problem. He don't know what he don't know. And
Yeah.
until he's willing to learn what he don't know, he's always going to be out there not knowing what he don't know.
Yeah. I was just
So
watching that
that'll
whole.
lead us into our position players. So I don't want to go too far into it when
Yeah.
you start on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was watching like that whole scenario. Coach Brown said flat out 2 minutes, 100, 100. First thing comes to mind is like, okay, game is tied. Both teams should be playing a very conservative pace because they want to milk as much clock as possible to get the shot that they want
Mm-hmm.
to force an opponent to make a mistake. That was the first thing that was running through my mind. So when I saw like a quick 2 or a quick 3, I was like, yo, what is this? What the is this?
Yeah.
Like I have never seen a college game or an NBA game when it's less than 2 minutes, a team needs a bucket and they go for a quick shot unless they know without question they can get a layup and an easy one at that. And even then, they're like, milk some time off the clock so that our defense can get set up. Like even you get the layup, make sure that the other guys are already in a defensive position, and the guy who made the layup is already inbounding. Is already doing defending on the inbound, or the guy's about to catch the ball to make it uncomfortable. Like I've always seen like at least half quarter, if not full court press, every single time. I didn't see that hardly at all. And I'm like, guys, like you guys are more athletic than me right now. You guys are in better shape than me right now. How can you not see this? Conservative. You gotta you gotta
what
play.
they're saving it for.
No, and it's funny, even in that scenario, it was like be conscious of your shot selection, be conscious of who takes the shot, be conscious of how much time is on the shot clock, and it's like you said again, to be a championship team is situations and moments like that it's still early, quote unquote, we in training camp for us to work on and get better at. But and I'm sure Coach will agree, I want to feel like my veterans are ahead and are thinking this, whereas my younger players, that excitement and experience may force them to do that. But I got to have my veterans thinking every scenario through in those spots, because even last year, we can think back to games where we're in the fourth quarter, we got a 23, 24-point lead, and it may be 6 minutes. Why are we coming down jacking quick shots that are threes? Because the quicker we shoot and miss, you're giving them more possessions to cut into your lead. And that when that momentum swings, it's hard to swing it back. So we in practice, that's why we try to go over so many different scenarios that when it comes to the game, it's not foreign to us and we're prepared. There's no difference in that last 2 minutes of the game and in the first 2 minutes. You got to execute. But the only thing is the game is on the line. So if your execution is not proper, you may lose by 1 point. So don't let the situation put a pressure on you where you do things that are out of your character and what we're trying to establish as a team. And that's how we're trying to get them to think. And we say at this age, we know that they're still dependent on their talent and their athletic ability. But the more that you use that muscle, that's going to drive everything else, and we're going to start to grow as a team. So it is me and Coach talk about it. Let's put them in a situation and see how they respond. And sometimes we set it up purposely where they can't win, but then we set it up where if you do what you should, you can win. So it's understanding the situation and what it takes as a team to come out of that. And as Coach said, a lot of that falls on our point guard. So, he is more than able to meet that. But as Coach said, what he doesn't know because he don't know. But it's up to us to give him that and arm him with that. So guess what? Now he's got more weapons in his toolbox to work with. So
Yeah.
one thing I know about him though, he is going to compete.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think this is a really good time to really kind of talk about like the current rosters and talk about, each player's, their strengths, their weaknesses. I think this is a really good time to really get into that segment because it's going to be critical moving forward, who's going to be playing and who's going to be sitting and who's going to get cut. Not my decision who's getting cut. I mean, that's y'all, but these factors do play a role in determining, the success of an individual moving forward.
Didn't tell Shady yet?
Huh?
Coach, you didn't tell Shady he had to pick the final roster for us?
Oh, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier before you got here.
Whoa,
he said he was ready.
Yo, what is this? what is this? Hold up. Oh, whoa. I'm not even in the group chat and you telling me I gotta pick the final 12. Whoa, what is this?
No.
Oh, you're funny.
Yeah, look, man, like I told you outside of practice. So today, I'm just, I heard the news about Coach Chaney. Just thinking back practice the other night and how it ended, that intensity that we had, and with us going back in the gym Saturday. And I said, Coach, we got to turn it up. We gotta make them uncomfortable to really get to where we need to be. So I'm thinking today, and I text Coach. I said, "You know what, Coach? I think I want to make somebody try to quit tomorrow." And he said, "Well, we won't have to cut them if they quit." We got a good laugh out of that.
Oh man!
And again, it is all about pushing them to exceed a limit that they're not even aware that they have. And most players are like that. My coach, my high school coach, it was the same thing. I can remember him challenging me, and I'm thinking, 22 seconds left in this game. And he's telling me, I know you can hold him and deny him from getting the ball. Thinking, yeah, okay, coach. But you know what? Because that competitor in me, and I wanted to win, I ended up holding him from not getting the ball. So he said, look, you gotta challenge yourself. Don't never doubt yourself. And I think us as just humans, if you're not aware of what your skill set is or that confidence in it, you may doubt yourself. But when you got a coaching staff that is engaged and cares about you individually and wants to see you succeed, he's going to push you to that level. And I think this team that we have this year is ready to meet that challenge and exceed that expectation. Because like we said, we want pit bulls, we want Rottweilers, we don't want poodles. So when you say you got to be a dog, no, you don't got to be a dog, because there's several different kind of dogs, and we want to be that Rottweiler where, you know what, when you engage us, we're gonna give you what you ask for, and And I think, like you said, it's just we we see the game in a whole nother manner that if they follow our lead, we're gonna be fine. And it starts in practice. Starts in
Yeah.
practice.
When you look up and down the roster, and again, I go back to the five spot because I think that's our most. We could talk five, and we know who we're gonna keep and ain't gonna keep.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we get to 3, 2, and 1 to where where it's crowded. I'll just say it's crowded when we
Yeah.
get to 3, 2, and 1. But from the five, I think we're solid at the five. I think we got something. Like I was telling Coach Oat earlier today, one of my only concerns was if we play a team that's real beefy down low. Because a couple of teams we played, they were just not fat, but just beefy down low. And we're not real beefy. We're strong, but we're not real beefy. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime we run into a beefy problem, I think we're gonna really have to get max minutes out of our fives. I mean, they have to stay out of foul trouble, has to be in shape, and he has to be able to play at both ends. Because we're gonna need him to do all that with that big guy and still execute when the ball comes, down low to him. So I think the five slot we're safe at. We kind of we're good there. I
Yeah,
think we're good with the five spot. What about you, Coach?
yeah. I believe um, an our five is our confidence and belief in him. We're comfortable and we know what he's going to bring. Uh, Plenty of experience playing, and with his second year up under us, just the little things that Coach mentioned that he's not per se a silverback, but he's solid and mobile, and he's strong enough to understand how to use leverage and his quickness to get advantages. Uh, Excellent passer out of the post. Uh, Even if we needed him to pop out, great jump shot, could shoot a three ball.
Oh yeah.
But his knowledge stands that what, I don't need to do that because I got so many of them now. So as Coach said, last year had a tendency to want to try to block shots and got in foul trouble. And when we called him on it, he, of course, the competitor in him, he didn't want to come out of the game. But after talking to him about it, the next game, he didn't try to block a shot, but he took 4 charges in a game. And me and Coach talked about it on the bench. It's like, look, did you see what I just saw? He would have tried to block that a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So now here's that growth of understanding that what, it's a time and situation to try to block shots, and sometimes I may have to take that charge. So what Coach said at the 5 spot, I am very comfortable with the options we have.
Even with that new five, the new five coming in, the guy that came in that's potentially, I think we may be able to throw at the 4.5, 5.
Mhm.
I think, like I said, if that guy's not bulky and he's just big and tall down there, we got another guy that could do some work down there. So
Young,
we got a two-headed monster. It depends on what type of monster he has to fight.
mhm.
To where I feel good throwing both of them in the fight with him. So we picked up another 5 too this year. That's going to do a lot of damage down there also. And he's smart and he knows the game.
And the great thing about it is that the veteran take under his wing and made it his responsibility to store as much in that data bank that he needs and can take in right now because he is young. But the physical assets and tools, like Coach said, he's got it all, and we're excited about him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's very athletic. He's extremely athletic and moves very well for his size.
Yes.
Really, really solid jumper. Obviously, that's a big part of that is because of this new way of basketball, having a stretch 5 who can hit jumpers and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like for him personally, like you said, like one of the big challenges is going against guys that's going to be quote unquote bigger than him, not
Mm-hmm.
tall wise, but like body wise and weight wise. So it's really just understanding how to take your strengths, which is that lateral quickness, to put yourself in good situations. Don't try to match him blow for blow because that's a tall order. We saw like what happened when folks try to go blow for blow against Shaq. You can't play Shaq like that. Shaq is too big. You have to outrun Shaq. You have to make Shaq move. That's how you beat someone who's bulky and big. You make
Mm-hmm.
that guy move. He don't like to move. He likes to sit. So yeah, I know who you're talking
And
about.
coach, that's the I want to talk about that guy because whether you know it or not, I'm trying to move that guy out to the four. We was going to talk about it tomorrow, but I'm trying to move the guy you're talking about out to the four and move this new guy down to the five.
Oh,
So he's playing five now, but I'm trying to move him out to the four.
oh, that's a matchup
I'm
nightmare
trying
right
to
now.
I'm trying to find a spot out in the four. So tomorrow, if you see me having him roaming out on the four, that's because I think this other big guy that we got, and you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to put no names to positions, but I think you know who I'm talking.
We laughed when he came in. I told coach, I said, I had a guy call me, was interested in coming to play, told me where he played at. I asked him what position he could play, and he told me 1 through 5. So I'm intrigued. I'm actually, I was like, he got me excited because, I hear guys when they talk about basketball and they talking, there's certain things that you like, oh, okay, okay. But then there's certain things that they say that you like, oh, really? Okay, I got to see this guy. Man, he comes to practice and they're warming up, shooting around, and me and coach are peeking. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. We get into practice and we're going up and down. And coach said, Coach, we got one. This guy can go. And he's got an
Yes,
old
sir.
man game. He's got an old man feel for the
Right,
game.
That
right.
old man feel.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was very welcoming to add him because, like Coach said, he can play the 5. And
Yeah.
he plays a lot bigger than what he is, and he's a lot physical than you would expect, but has a great skill set that he could definitely exploit some bigger bigs that he'll probably be matched up against. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you, Coach. That was a sneaky one. You snuck one on me, Coach.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I'm bring your boy out the paint, man. I'm bringing just a little bit. I ain't gonna take it too far from the basket, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh man, I can see it
I'm gonna
now.
bring him out the paint.
yeah.
I can see it now. If he goes at the 4, oh, that's a matchup nightmare right there.
Woo.
I can see it as clear as the sky. That is a matchup nightmare. And if I know the 5 like you guys are talking about, because he is a new guy. I think I saw him first time last Wednesday. He's kind of physical. I'm not gonna lie. Like he likes to talk a little trash. He if he scores a couple of times, he gonna let you know. But defensively, oof, that's why I really felt his presence. I was like, oh, he's one of those type of players.
Yeah.
He gonna make
Hey,
you.
he says, "Bring your game, not your name. Bring your game, not your name." That's what he told him. I don't know who you used to be in college or wherever you played, but today you better bring your game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look, there was no intimidation or hesitation of, you know what, this is my first time in the gym with these guys. I don't know anybody, so I'm gonna ease my way in. Uh, he came in with the intentions of, I'm gonna earn a spot, and that's impressive to me for a player that comes in and doesn't overdo it, but he shows you he belongs and he can bring something to your team. So definitely, Coach. Yeah, he can definitely play the 5. No question.
Yeah,
No question.
yeah.
So and again, that just goes back to what we said earlier. The roster this year is just so much more versatile that again we have players that could play three different positions. So the combinations that we could put on the floor are really unlimited when we think about it. You know, we actually could put a group on the floor where everybody is 6'4" or better. And that's huge at this level of pro basketball to be able to do that. So I think we will be able to take full advantage of him as a new addition to the team.
Yeah.
Um,
And that rolls right into the fours.
fourth.
Right into the
Speaking
four.
of new additions.
Oh, oh man, this is going to be good. If this new four that you just moved from the 5 to the 4, if he gets a more consistent jump shot, and even just a little bit of a little back game where he can kind of like just plant his feet and kind of just roll and get that little back. Oh man. Oh man, he's gonna be a nightmare matchup, man. I can see it now.
He
Well, we got. How many? I would say. We probably got about 3 true fours that can go one up
yeah,
or
we
one
do.
down.
We
Yeah.
sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a couple fours can go 2 up. All the way up to play the 2.
Yeah.
Maybe even play the 1. Maybe even play the 1.
If
Wow.
put in the right situation and based on the matchup, very easily could go to the 1.
Right.
And that's that part again of teaching them positionless basketball based on the matchup. And what we do with that, Shady, and I'm sure I won't speak to a lot of other teams, but I can just from game situations, is we like our players to know the offense from every spot, not just from the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2, or the 1. But you should be able, if I move you from the 5 to the 2, you should be able to still run the play, and there shouldn't be any hiccups there. And what that does is now everybody's got a grasp of the offense and know what's happening. So you know when he's about to break open. And there's no delay. There's not a different pace because you know when the window opens, you better come through it because it's about to close. And it's funny, we watched it in practice the other night and we stopped it. Boom. You switch and 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 you switch. And as soon as they went back to playing, that rhythm and that continuity was there. So it's just the fact that, coaches see it, he pulls a trigger, boom, it works. So when he says that about, that 4 possibly going to play a 1, we're not just, throwing that out there just to say it. That's real.
That's one of the biggest positions. Well, I would say 1 and 2 last year. Our biggest position that I think we had, we struggled with against different teams was the 1 and the 4.
Yes.
1 and the 4. When we went to the bench for the 4 position, we didn't get a lot of productivity out of that position. I think we had 4s that wanted to be 3s and 2s, but we never had a true 4 that knew how to play the 4 position. So to be loaded at 4 this year, man, that's a blessing there. We really, if we had these 4s last year that we had this year, we would. Oh man, wow.
So look, some of our 4s last year didn't want to just be 2s and 3s; they wanted to be coach.
Right. They wanted all the jobs.
They wanted to work commission, everything. So
they wanted all the jobs last year.
All the jobs, but
Oh man,
couldn't focus in on just that one job. So it's and this year, like you said, to have it, and all in fun and jokes, but yeah, that versatility at that spot for us is huge. And we even talked about how teams possibly want to play small ball. And we laughed about that, that truthfully, that would be a mistake with this team.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge mistake to play small ball against this team. And again, it's because the spots are interchangeable. But when you got a guy that's got unlimited range and you can put the ball in his hands or put him at the 5 spot, that's a hard matchup where he can give you work down on that block, or he can pull you out on the wing and put it on the floor or go by you. Or if you play off him, he's going to knock the 3 ball down. Yeah. So the versatility there is definitely a plus for us. Now, we say we're loaded at 4. We're just as loaded as a 3 again, because we can slide down. It's unreal what we can do. And the funny thing about it is our veteran that's coming back that played 3 and 4 last year, and I actually coached him before I came to Fredericksburg. I coached him in Richmond, and he is when he's locked in and focused, he's a different animal. And Coach, you take that one. Is what he brings to this team when he's locked in. It makes us something special. And it's funny, now we have a newcomer that's in the same likeness of him. And it was fun to watch those two the other night go at it. And also to play together, it was fun to watch them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that 3 spot is a big for us. If we need to put it on the floor, they have that game. If it's the 3 ball, they definitely have that, and they don't mind going to the rack dunking on you.
Oh man, wow! I'm just going to hop in real quick about that. What was crazy when I saw that, I was like, okay, this man is going against a guy who is quote unquote physically stronger than he is, and my man did not care at all. He was like, listen, you're in my way, and I need you to get out of my way because I'm trying to do something. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, God, what is this? Like, he literally told a new guy, like, listen, man, if you're going to talk trash, that's cool, but you're in my way, square up. I was like, oh, Jesus. And when I saw that, I was like, you tell me this guy plays a 3? With that ball handling skill? My man is not afraid to shoot the 3 in your face. That's number 1. But when I saw that post up move, I was like, "Oh God, this is scary." And like 2 other people that I know probably would quote unquote do a little bit better on the 3 are some knockdown shooters too. You leave them wide open, that's a problem. That is a big problem. I'm like, dude, like, why are you leaving him open? You know what time it is. Hand down, man down. Come on now. But
there it is.
But
that's a triple-double spot every night. All our 3s are capable of getting a triple-double every night. They can hit the boards, they pass well, and they shoot well. That's any one of our 3s is a walking triple-double any night. So the competition for that starting spot, wow.
I feel like the biggest thing that's really going to separate the individual who would be a starter and those going to be playing on the bench, it's going to be the physicality. Because like when I saw that dunk, that was like a statement dunk. That wasn't no ha he. Like that was letting you know, if you're going to beat me, this is the energy you're going to have to match and then go above that. Because I'm not playing. Some of y'all are playing. I'm not playing tonight. I was like, okay, I'm done. I could leave the gym. I could have left the gym right then and there and tell you, whatever position that man wants to play, he's going to get it. I could just walk away from that point. It was crazy.
And it means you can't take a day off.
No, no,
If either
no.
one take a day off, the other one's going to end up starting.
Oh yeah.
You cannot take you cannot take a day off or practice off.
But
If you take a day off and I see it, that other guy's going to get the edge.
But you know what's funny about that is whichever one of them starts, if we go to the bench to bring the other one in, if for any reason that coach or opposing team think, okay, they're going to the bench, it's going to be a drop off so we can relax, they're going to be on a poster.
Yeah. And I'm going to be talking about it. and it's going straight to Facebook, and it's going to be an instant replay type moment. And it's going to be plastered all over social media without question. And I'm going to be saying, this is the bench player doing this to your starting player. You don't want the starting player because it's going to be worse. That's going to be the caption. It's going to let them know real quick.
Or we could move one of them down and play them together.
Ooh.
Move one of them down and play them together.
And when we did that in practice Wednesday, they had about 3 plays at being coach. And I always say, we tell them, we're going to be your biggest critics. We're going to be your biggest cheerleaders. Hey, me and coach had the pom-poms on a couple of those plays that they had. And they were basketball plays out of our offense. And it was just like, whoa. So we, again, are developing them to compete against each other because they are in that same spot. But then they look forward to playing together. So that is no, I got to get mine. No, we're going to play off of each other. And that was a beautiful thing to watch between the two of them.
Very, very, very unselfish players.
Yeah.
Those are our best athletes. I think our best athletes are at the 4. Our best athletes are at the 4.
Oh yeah.
When you talk about the all-around player, you just got to put them. Our 4s, you can put them on the court anywhere and they're going to be effective. They're just great athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, our 3s. Sorry about that. Our 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Now our 2s. Woo!
Competition is steep.
You talk about competition. That's where the competition is at.
Everybody wants to shoot the rock. I can clearly see that as bright as day. Everybody wants to shoot the rock. And even as a fan, I'm like, dude, there's a time to shoot it. There's a time to pass. And then there's a time to set up other people. Yeah. And I'm not going to say any names right now, but I already know both coaches know exactly what I'm talking about. You cannot jack up a 3 2 to 4 seconds in. It is not going to work because, like Coach G said it best. He was like, "Listen, man, my jumper probably goes in 97% of the time, but I don't want to try that 3%. And that means an easy bucket for the other team." And I'm like, "Listen, you can play the 2. I know you can play the 2, but your shot selection could put you in a really bad spot against some of these other 2s real quick."
Yeah.
Shady and Coach probably could give you several incidents last year. I'm pretty intense in the game, but I'm even keel with my intensity. But a quick shots takes me out of my character. And Coach,
real quick.
Coach knows it, and some of our most heated moments and discussions last year resulted from quick shots, and it just doesn't. It's not good basketball. It doesn't look good. It streams selfishness, and it doesn't allow you to get in the flow of the game. And again, to understand the game, nobody wants to play defense.
Nobody.
So why are you taking quick shots? We can get that same shot out of the offense where we got rebounding and the floor is balanced, where there's possibility we can get an offensive rebound, another shot. But when you're taking that quick shot, you're doing a heat check, or you feel like you got to get yours, and there's still on a 24-second shot clock is 18 seconds. The next thing that you're probably going to hear is because I'm going to send a sub for you. That was a huge problem for us last year. So far this year, it hasn't been near as bad. There were some glimpses of it in the scrimmage, and we addressed it. But we're really focusing on it in practice even more. That when it happens, they hearing the whistle and we're stopping right there. Because again, we don't have to rush anything. We have too many weapons, and our plays. We're confident that our plays will get us what we want without having to force a shot or take quick shots. So that is definitely a pet peeve in Grizzly land that we definitely are working to eliminate even more.
Okay. We got two veterans twos that's coming back. One's back, one's coming back. That when they're going, they'll hit you up for 15 points before you even knew it. Before you even know it, when they're going.
When they're going.
But what they have to learn is you have to be going before you take that quick shot. Because there's been some games that, you know, are twos coming back from last year to where when they're going and we get a steal and they get cross half court and let it go, they're still going. When you're going like that, you know, you might not hear the horn if you missed out. But you got to get going before you take those kind of shots. You don't take those kind of shots to get going. So if they're going, then it gave them a little bit leeway. But you can't get comfortable and confuse that to where we're giving you the green light to take those kind of shots. No, we say you're on fire and we want the ball. We want you letting the ball go every time you get it. That's what we're saying. But if you're not on fire, then you gotta find other shots to get in rhythm. Make a couple free throws or make a couple, 15 footers or something before you start going out there jacking threes. But when they're going, they're going. And we had two veterans that when they're going, they're going. And the crazy thing is we brought in some more twos this year. When they're going, they're going. So that spot is so competitive now. But as a two, you got to know that you're probably going to be guarding the toughest player on the other team every night. So it's not going to boil down to what you can do. It's going to boil down to what you can stop their two from doing. And if you can stop a two, then you're going to play two for us. But if you can't stop a two, you're probably not going. You may play the two position for us, but you're not going to get a lot of minutes because we're looking for twos that can stop the other teams too. And if you can't go both ways, it's so close right now to where all our twos are good. All of them can shoot. We can count on all of them to hit a three. But the one that's going to be on the floor is the one that can stop that other two. That's how close the competition is. That little thing is going to give you the edge to get the starting spot, and it's going to keep you on the floor.
Facts.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah, and to that point, it's by committee in a sense, and our hope is that everybody embraces both ends of it, so that now we can feed you all four of them based on the situation of the game, who has the mismatch. But if both of them are locking up and they're both hitting their shots, you know what? Go in there, get your 8 minutes in, play hard, get a sub. You know what? Here comes your twin. He's gonna give us the same thing, and it's just that rotation there doesn't drop, and that's a good thing. Because last year he said we keep referencing back, man. It would be sometimes I look down the bench and I'd be like, and I'm looking like, where are we going? And because that starter needs that rest, and it can't be a short rest. He needs his rest to go back in so he can be himself. So we can't bring him out, set him for 2 minutes, and we're putting him right back in.
Right.
So it definitely is a added added luxury for us this year to be loaded at that spot.
And with our size, Coach, I think even sometimes we may even see a look to where we got 3 or 4 twos on the court. With the size of them, there may be a time when we might can throw the whole book at somebody and say, you know what, we're gonna put all these gunners out here. 2 of them gonna find the target.
Easy.
and still be competitive on the offensive end and the defensive end, and we'll match up well with the size.
And the irony of it all is that our starting point guard this year was our starting 2 guard last year.
Oh yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense because my man is not afraid to shoot the rock either if he sees a good look. But he's now more than ever trying to get his teammates involved. But he's telling his teammates, guys, you have to know where you're going, or else I can't set up anything for y'all.
Shady, I'm glad you said that and that you picked up on it, because that's been a big discussion with us, and Coach said it in the last one, is that our point guard cannot be sensitive, and he's got to be used to having difficult conversations and being able to put people in place. And with that, we know we have that in him. So that right there is just going to be that control and order that we need for these weapons to be taken advantage of.
Right.
You gotta be able to take direction, or as I was told, to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower first. So if you can't follow your leader, we can't come to you in certain situations and expect you to lead us. So take that direction from him on the floor, because he is so in tune with what we're asking and what we need that sometimes he's saying it before we even say it.
Oh yeah.
So that's huge, and just another level of growth that team needed to get to this level we want to be. So it's funny when we talk about the twos. It's like, and let's not forget, our point guard was a starting 2 last year, so you better not leave him open.
No, you better not,
right.
because my man, he plays with a chip on his shoulder.
Definitely.
Every single time, even if you didn't do anything to him, he walks in there with an attitude. Like, you're looking at me the wrong way, and I feel some type of way, and I'm gonna let you know what's good. My man doesn't care. You leave him open, he's like, I bet that was a bad decision. Here's a 3 in your face. Thank you very much. Now I'm gonna meet you on the defensive end. I'm gonna make your life very uncomfortable. My man doesn't care about playing physical. He got zero problem letting you know this. You're on the wrong team. This is my court. I belong here. You do not belong here. And if you want my respect, you better match my energy right now. Don't delay.
That's the type of one he is.
Don't.
And Coach, I don't know if you seen all this coming or not, and you moved him up to the 1 to make a vacancy for all them 2s who's coming in. But gosh, I'm glad we made some room. That spot would have been overcrowded. But even at the 1, if you take the point guard, he's in charge of all the bullets. He got all the bullets. He needs to know which weapon to fire and which weapon to give a bullet to fire at all times. We can't waste bullets, or we're gonna be out there in the heat of the battle and we're gonna run out of ammunition. So that point guard, he has to know every weapon that he has out there, and he has to know what every weapon can do. You don't want to use a tank to kill one person. You just want to use maybe a pistol or something. So he has to know the capability of all his weapons. He needs to know who's firing 100%, who's hitting bullseye, who's missing. He needs to know all that, and he needs to distribute his bullets accordingly. And every now and then, you take you a shot, make sure your weapons still work. But other than that, you're just setting up your weapons so they can hit enemy targets, and you're distributing your bullets. Okay, that goes there. He's hot. I'm gonna take my last 5 bullets and give it to this guy because I know he's gonna hit the target. I'm not gonna waste these last 5 bullets. And that's the mentality that our point guard has to have. Now we got some point guard competition going on now.
We do.
But the good thing is, if you don't make it at the 1, you can slide down to the 2 and still be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can have 2 1s on the court or 2 2s on the court. We still be all right. But we got a new guy coming in, 2 new guys. We got 2 new guys and 2 vets at point guard.
Yeah.
And them new guys are trying to get minutes.
Yeah.
And the guy we moved up from the 2 last year to the 1, he's not trying to give nobody no minutes. He's trying to play the whole game.
The whole
He's running on diesel. He's going to want to play the whole game, and he's going to give you that energy the whole game. You got to call that dog off. So grab him by the leash and just yank him and back in the house. If not, he's going to stay out there forever and just keep fighting. He ain't trying to give nobody no minutes. And a couple people coming in trying to take minutes. They're not trying to get minutes. They're trying to take minutes. So it's competitive at the 1 too.
That's one thing I absolutely love about both veterans at the 1. The first one, the leader, takes no crap from nobody. And I love it. He will let you know real quick, if you want me, you can come at me, but don't miss, because I'm not going nowhere. And his quote unquote backup, which I don't even really consider to be a backup, man got like heart of steel. My man might be what some people consider like short in stature, but my man plays big. He plays really, really big. And he's like, listen, I know that I might be the shortest person on the court. I don't care. I want to play. And I'm not wasting no time either. So the new guy, who does have a good shot, by the way, I will say that. He does have a good shot. He got to know the plays.
Yes.
If he want any shot at all to even think about really competing hard for that 1, or else he's going to be moved out to 2. Because the leader knows the plays. That's not even a discussion. And his backup also knows the plays as well. And he's like, I'm not trying to lose my spot either. So, like Coach Brown says, like, it ain't good enough just to know what you're supposed to do. You got to know what everybody is doing, because that's how you're going to find yourself in a situation to get more playing time, because now it's like, all right, cool. You're not the 1, but you're interchangeable as a 2, and you're a good basketball player because you know how to make good decisions. You're not going to take a bad shot. You're a guard. You're always going to touch the rock. Yes. So why you got to shoot the ball just because you didn't like something that you see from initial play? Like, you always going to touch the ball if you're a guard. So you can always take a shot. You can always call your own number whenever you want. So that's but the guard's job is not always to take the shot. It's always, what is the best decision based off of the scenario that is presented to me, and exploit that. You can always get your shot. That's what they got to know real quick. I can always get mine. I'm a guard. I'm always going to touch the rock. But you got to help your teammates be in better positions. And from a defensive end, you got to match that energy, because the 2 guards at the 1 position, they will match that energy. They don't care.
Yeah, that's one thing. Having played point guard myself, I'm very cognizant that when you have as many weapons and toys that we have, is you got to involve them. You got to get every one of those things going. And when the defense is confused and don't know who to key on, and they're trying to take away the post play, or they're trying to take away the 2s, and they're trying to deny your 3s, guess what? Finish the game for me, point guard. And it's one of those things with this year, is that in that first game, I saw it firsthand that he was trying to get everybody else going and didn't even look to take a shot. But when he did, it was the right shot, and he had no choice but to take it, because now, you know what? I've got my bigs off, and I got my 2s and 3s off, and they're backing off. I got to take this shot. So in the flow of the game and how we want to play, that progression is a lot of maturity comes with that point guard position to be able, like you said, yeah, I got the rock in my hand 90% of the time. I can shoot when I want, but that's not going to make us that type of team that we want to be. So, like Coach said, he can go the whole game. He's that mentality and that competitive drive is what we need and what we look for in our players. And like you said, being our point guard lead on the court, he epitomizes that. And they can't do anything but follow his lead. Because like you said, he ain't going nowhere. And if he got to, he'll get in your face and let you know. And don't mind the confrontation that comes with it.
Oh yeah.
That's where the point guard battle is. You know, when I talked about the 2s, I said the person who's probably going to get the edge is that 2 that can shut down another 2. When you're talking point guards, I think that what's going to get the person the edge is, can I use you somewhere else? Because I got a whole bunch of views, but if I could turn you into a 2-headed, maybe even possible a 3-headed monster, I got to keep you. Because you bring more, you bring in more to the team. If you can't go down and play 2, then I got 1 player there. But if you could go down and as a point guard and play the 2 and even sneak down to be the 3 and be okay, I got to keep you. Because I'm not just keeping a point guard, I'm keeping the extra 2 and I'm keeping the extra 3 that I don't even have to use a spot on. So that's what the point guard contest is going to come down to. What else can I use you for? I know you're a true point guard and you probably can do what I need you to do, but if I got a guy that can do 2, 3, 4 more positions, I'd be a fool not to keep that guy. Because if I take you out the game, I only could bring you in when I need a point guard. Whereas if you could play the 1, 2, or 3, I could sneak you in there when one of my 3's in foul trouble, or I could sneak you in there if my 2 is not playing well. And you got to remember, our starting point guard was probably one of the best 2s in the whole league last year.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, believe he made the All-Star team last year. So it's one of those things. And to sum it up with in military background, do you want a Swiss Army knife or do you want a pocket knife?
There you go.
And he's definitely a Swiss Army knife. He's got some things in his bag. So it's a great situation to have that type of leader on the court, because that's one thing that was big last year with us just getting them to become better teammates, is that y'all got to hold each other accountable. And sometimes we had problems with that last year. There were differences of opinion, but it wasn't holding your teammate accountable to be better. And that was an uphill battle last year. This year, it hasn't been a problem at all. It's like, and I think it just comes with, again, you see that guy next to you working just as hard, and he's showing up to practice, and he's working on his game in the off season to bring something else. You want to play with that guy. So it's that work ethic is almost a thing that is contagious, and that's what you want beside you, because there's a trust factor there. Just like with me and Coach. And if the only day that we talked was on practice days, he would call me out. And I know he would call me out, because we can't be effective if the only time we talk is on practice days. What is that? We do so much work on the off days that by the time we get in practice, it's fun for us. We've done everything behind the scenes. So now we're just going in there implementing. So like you said, with that point guard situation, is that versatility. And in today's game, like you said, it's turning into positionless basketball. We want Swiss Army knives. That's the piece you need, where, you know what, I need you to go play the 5. And it's not like, what, coach, I'm a point guard. No, coach, I'm a basketball player. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we get from that. That's what we get from that spot. So.
And
Yeah.
that, even as a whole, I would say as a whole, if I had to talk to the team as a whole, I would tell them that, we got right now, I think we got 15 and we're getting to 12, maybe 13, that everybody here can play basketball. Everybody on this team is really good. And you probably can start anywhere else in the area or anywhere else in the league. But what's going to get you on the floor is you gotta do something extra. You got to do something extra. So point guards, when y'all look at each other, you got to say, you know what? Yeah, he's good and I'm good. What else can I bring to the table? And I need to bring it better than the other point guards trying to bring it. Same thing with 2, 3s, and 4s. Yeah, all of y'all are good, and all of y'all can possibly start for this team. But what else can you bring to the table that nobody else can bring? Because that's what we're looking for. We're myself, and I know Coach B too. I'm not really in practice looking to see who can shoot and all. I've seen all y'all play basketball. I know you can play basketball, but what extra can you do? That's what I'm looking for. What extra can you do? And when I say extra, do you know all the offensive plays? Are you where you need to be at in the play? Do you know what everybody's in the play doing? Are you boxing out for a rebound? You're trying to be a 4 and you're not boxing out. You're just trying to out jump people. I don't need that. I need a guy that's going to box out that. It's going to be something little that's going to get somebody on the floor. Then the other guy going to say, well, coach, I'm better than him. I'm better than him. Well, you're both the same. He's out there because he's going to box out and get rebounds. If you do that, you'll be out there. But it's going to be something little to where somebody's going to get the starting position over the next guy. It's going to be something little, and the little things is what wins championships. That's what it's all going to boil down to. It ain't going to boil down to who can hit 40 points or who can hit 50 points, because we got 10, maybe 11 guys that can do that any night. But who's going to box out and get a rebound? Who's going to run back in transition and take that charge? Little things is going to get you a starting spot on this team.
That's that will or skill.
That's it.
And that's that thing. Like you said, we're equal in that skill. But what are you bringing? What's going to separate you? And that's that will. You know what, coach? I can go rebound, coach. You know what, coach? I can lock that guy down. I don't care he's 3 inches bigger than me. I can lock him down. So, what coach saying is, like you said, is what are you doing? What are you going to do to make this team better? And from a standpoint, like you said, is you should always strive as a basketball player to get better at something. At something. Whatever your weakness is, that's what you should work on every time you get in the gym by yourself. You should be working on your weakness. So as a guard, there's 3 things I look at right away. Can you go both ways? Can you do the same thing? Same move to your left. Can you do it to your right? Can you beat your man off the dribble? Can you lock a point guard up? And can you hit an open shot? And as a point guard, those are the first 3 things you look at. Now, when it comes to running the team, that's the easy part, because we're gonna orchestrate everything. It's your job to drive the car and get us to that point. So it's funny, how it all comes together. And Coach made some great points. Great points. We just not handing the keys to you freely. You got to earn them keys. And all of us are giving the keys away freely before, and sometimes you don't get the best results. So now when we give you those keys, you got to know, hey, there's a ultimate trust there, and we're expecting you to do the right thing. So, tell you, these 2 weeks can't go fast enough, man.
That's it. That's it. They ain't got a whole bunch of time to now is the time to show us. Look me in the eye and give me a reason why I should start you over him.
Yeah.
Look me in my eye and tell me why I should start you over him.
I can't wait because if you guys are telling me that the scrimmage is not the 6th but the following week, I can't wait because man, I tell you, like, what it's it's so much fun to watch. You know, again, just from an outsider perspective and just soaking it all in, it's so much fun to watch because you can really tell that some of these players are taking everything that you guys are saying and like, okay, you know what, this is what I need to do to play. All right, bet, coach, I got you. Like one of the threes, like I think y'all put him maybe like at a 1 position just to see what he likes, you know, just to see how he will respond. And my man was responding like very physically, and I was like, wait a minute now, like normally like you're not a not like you are a knockdown shooter. You can put the ball on the court, but normally you're a wing player around the 3-point land. They moved you over there to the 1 position. You're tall and lengthy. You're tall. You got some reach on you. And my man was probably playing more physical at that position than he did at the 3. And I was like, oh man, this is getting kind of scary now because if he can just get that edge when he's playing his normal position at the 3,
Yeah.
it's gonna be you're gonna have problems if you're the other team.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of uh, Illinois when they had Marcus Liberty, Kendall Gill. You remember that group, Coach?
Yeah.
And when you talk about interchangeable pieces and just the different things that they could do, that was a fun team to watch, and I'm sure it was a fun team to play on because you just didn't know who to key on. So it's we're excited, man. We're looking forward to it, and I was just looking at the timer. We done went 2 hours,
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good stuff. Good stuff. And we get back in the lab tomorrow.
And we
Can't wait to get there.
Yeah. And I'm still adamant. Either coach, somebody gonna quit or somebody gonna throw up tomorrow.
That's it. That's it.
I believe it.
That's it. They cannot continue to keep me up at night wondering who we gonna get rid of.
That question has been hit me so many times this week. Coach, who you gonna keep? Coach, what it look? Man, I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We still tweaking. We still putting it all together. I said, but it's going to show. They're going to decide who we keep. It's not going to be up to us. They're going to decide it, and that's the part I like. Is like, you know what? Go take your spot. If you're a competitor, go take your spot. And all we're going to do is write the names down because it's going to be obvious. Mm-hmm. But right now, it's a few little spots that's got us kind of baffled. And but I tell you, after tomorrow's practice, Coach, we gonna know.
Yeah.
We will know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can definitely see it because a big factor that's going to cause an individual to be cut is going to be effort.
Yeah.
I can see it. Like, even though you guys are still in the process of tweaking it, like I can already tell you certain players are going to be playing no matter what. Certain players are going to be like asking me on the side as a video guy, hey man, what did I do wrong? Do you know the plays? And I'm like, listen man, I'm not the coach. That's not my job. You need to talk to them. They know more than me. I'm just an observer. I'm just another set of eyes. I'm just a tool to help the team out from a video perspective. You need to talk to them. But more than likely, it's going to be something from an effort point of view. And it's not going to be just from tomorrow, but an accumulation of what they've been seeing. There haven't been any changes. You haven't made any adjustments. They tell you to do something. They may not be telling it to you. They may be saying it to the team. They may be saying it to somebody else. But you didn't take it as, oh, coach talking to me. Oh, coach is just talking to the team. Or coach is talking to the leader. He ain't talking to me. Nah, it's going to be like a big part is going to be effort. just the willingness to be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll get back on defense without being told. Yeah, I'll go ahead and make this guy life a living hell without question, without being told. Oh, yeah, I know the plays. I know what my opponents are going to try to do, and I'm going to be in this position so I can get a steal. Because I definitely saw a couple of steals. I remember Coach said straight up, don't let so-and-so get the ball. Shut him down. I'm like, okay, who's going to respond? I saw that. I was like, oh, that caught my attention real quick. It's going to be effort. And some players, like, I don't know what's going on with them, but from an effort perspective, I'm like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
And the coaches know more than me. And they're being nice. I'm just being blunt. I don't see the effort continuously. I see it sometimes when they get on you, and I see it sometimes when you're making your shots. But what happens when you're not making your shots? Where is the effort? That's going to be a big deciding
good
factor.
one.
Oh, yes, it is.
Grab your popcorn.
I told her, I said, man, I feel like we got a game tomorrow. That's how I'm walking in the gym tomorrow, like we playing.
Yeah.
So, and I just that's one thing, you know, when you talk about the game and, you know, friendships and relationships that I have formed from this game, basketball. And it's guys that I played against and some of my teammates. And it's a lifetime bond. And when we talk about the game, you know, we played 25, 30 years ago, it was like, bro, I used to hate for you to guard me. And you remember those things. You know the guy that was a pest that was going to
remember their name.
Yeah, and that's like you said, that's all I know. I don't know, you know, let him bring it up at his pace. I'll get him at half court. My guys, we don't know that. We like, what is that? You know, so that's what we're trying to instill in them as a team, and then just as an individual player. When you leave, if you don't play for us next year and you go somewhere, walk in the gym and play and lock a player up like that, you're gonna get that coach's attention quick. You know, so that's it, and it's all effort. It starts with the effort. So, good stuff, fella. Yeah. Good stuff.
All righty. See y'all at 5. Well, I'll probably be up there at 4, man, because some of them say they want to come out and get on.